Well, I hope you guys are happy. You broke Fortnite again. Surprise, surprise. Now, you might think that some of these things were really fun to use, and, you know, I'd have to agree with that, but some of them should have just never been added. I mean, you could still have fun without them. Just wait until the squad pulls up. Welcome back to Top 5 Gaming, everyone, where today we will be breaking down the top 5 broken Fortnite items that should have never been added. And if you like this video and subscribe right now, right here today, and today only, we will be giving away a piece of chocolate cream pie. Just take a look at that pie. Tell me what you're doing after eating this. Anyway, there are some items that have been added or taken out of Fortnite in a quick amount of time due to extremely limited testing, not really making sure it's balanced, or it's just being added at the wrong time. This list is talking about stuff that was way too OP when it got added, or just wasn't balanced and made the game worse for the short period of time that it was in. So, in at number 5, we've got the Infinity Blade. They could have added this one in as an LTM, and nobody would have said anything. Nobody would get mad. It would have been like the Thanos game mode, and everybody would have loved it. But now everybody hates it because they put it in the base game, and now they just hate the idea of it in general. Some ideas are amazing on paper, but don't always turn out as expected, and the Infinity Blade is one addition to Battle Royale that definitely didn't go the way Epic Games had hoped for. The new weapon was discovered on the 11th of December when the Polar Peak Mountains had melted away enough to reveal the sword in the stone amongst a long-lost frozen castle. And it was all intended to be the first in a new category of mythic-style weapons. We've been used to the weapon grading system since the game first came out. From gray uncommons to legendary golds, this has been the way it's always been. Sure, we've had new items and weapons, but they always fall into one or a few of those variants. However, Fortnite had bigger plans in the works. Mythic weapons were supposed to be the variant above legendary, a whole new level of power. But it wasn't just a higher grade. The Mythic grade was VIP exclusive weapons only. Fortnite were intending to release a series of weapons over time, each completely unique in their own way, and were also incredibly powerful. Epic Games wanted to mix up the common style of combat that we've been used to seeing now by chucking in some completely random weapons into the mix. It may have been the Infinity Blade this time, but just imagine what weapons they must have had in mind when they said each one would be unique. A heavy sword one time, maybe a magic bow the next. The idea was there, but unfortunately, it came out just way too overpowered. I mean, sure, it was supposed to be one of the most powerful items in the game, but when that power has minimal to zero chance of countering, then it's a bit too much. The balloons definitely help, but the community, of course, gave their feedback, and within barely a week, Fortnite released a statement that they were vaulting the Infinity Sword, and for now, it seems the whole mythic subject in general has been vaulted, but I was definitely a fan of the idea, though, and would have loved to see it just be an LTM and not part of the actual game. What do you think about mythics? How could it have been introduced to Fortnite in a more balanced and fun way for everyone? Number 4 is the X for Stormwing. So have any of you recently seen that Diablo announcement clip with the question,
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
No, it's a.
Well, this is pretty much how a lot of people are feeling about Fortnite right now. Epic Games have been bringing us update after update nearly every single week or two for over a year. We've seen weapons come and go, glitches fall through the gaps, but 9 times out of 10, they hear the community and end up responding. Sometimes it takes a little time to get it right. Let's not talk about how long we had to deal with broken shotguns, but every now and then, it seems like Fortnite are just in it for the lulz. And when I say every now and then, recently it seems more like every other update. Fortnite is a massive building style game and is one of its winning traits, but more recently, most of their new items or updates just involve pure chaos and building destruction. The sword would literally obliterate anything in its path. The recent boombox will destroy everything within a massive area around it for a ridiculously long time, and to top it all off, we mustn't forget about the planes with infinite gas, apparently. The X4 Stormwing hasn't been out for too long, being released with the recent Season 7 snow biome added to the map, but for a lot of players, it's been long enough. Using the charge ability can allow you to easily smash through anything, causing mass damage to players that you may hit too, and it's right up that everything is Chaos Street. Not only that, but a lot of players will use them to just camp out in the air, safely circling their way around the circle. On occasion, you may even find multiple Stormwings up in the air, all avoiding each other just so that they can wait out the game. We're not sure what the future holds for this vehicle, as Fortnite have given no response to this feedback. Perhaps they really want this to work and are just hoping we'll forget, which you guys know won't happen. Maybe they could at least give it a gas tank, though. Number 3 is the first version of the guided missile. So the guided missile has been in and out of the vault a fair few times now, with some exclusive appearances in LTMs. You may be used to it as a general scouting weapon that's good for the occasional rocket ride, but it doesn't really do much damage. But many a moons ago, on the 14th of March, when the guided missile dropped for the first time, it was a completely different story. At the time, it did around 105 to 110 base damage, almost double the current damage. The guided missile itself had a longer detonation and was faster in the air, and if you were lucky enough to get this first thing, then the whole town was yours for the taking, as you could easily just camp in a house, letting a remote control do all the work for you. The only thing you had to worry about was getting snuck up on when you were guiding the missile. Given the weapon's damage and speed, it was found to be way too aggressive and overpowered. After a few suggestions from the community and a lot of work though, they've turned the guided missile into what it should have been like all along, yet it still remains vaulted from Battle Royale. Number 2 is remote explosives. For some new additions to the game, it wasn't the item itself that's hated, but the situation revolving around it that causes a lot of problems for the players. When remote explosives were added on the 14th of March, C4 was a weapon most players all seem to agree was a great feature to the game. It's just if they could get the C4 working without the usual overpowered or glitchy effects. Well, in that aspect, they kind of got it on point. They weren't actually that glitchy, but this time the problem was that they were underpowered, barely doing anything to the surrounding structures, and in response to this, Fortnite added a mechanic that allows the explosion to penetrate and damage other surrounding builds, and boom, suddenly a weak weapon becomes instantly overpowered. To counter this, they try lowering and raising the C4 max inventory stack until they settled on 6, even going so far as to prevent players from detonating the C4 until it had landed. This new item was going up and down on the power scale and being changed so much that in the end, a lot of the Fortnite community were tired with just having to constantly adapt to its new update, and the fact is that sometimes new features just need a wider range or more extensive test. In the end, it was the introduction of Season 6 on the 27th of September that ended up vaulting remote explosives indefinitely, but like most items on our list, you can still find them in Playground or Creative. And as for the honorable mentions, we've got the Jetpack. The Jetpack is probably one of the worst and best ideas ever created or introduced. I mean, seriously, it's a jetpack. Who doesn't want to try out a freaking jetpack? In any game or even real life, you can find an insane amount of mods for games like GTA that are specifically made to give people jetpacks, but I wonder if you can guess how many days it lasted in Fortnite before getting vaulted. Well, you know how oil and water just don't mix? I'm fairly certain you could say the same about jetpacks in most Battle Royale games. Fortnite first introduced their version of a jetpack on the 30th of May, and at first your thinking is it isn't too bad. It's not like you can just fly around in the air for an infinite amount of time, because unlike some things, it has a fuel gauge. But even with those short periods where you can more or less fly, that advantage is just way too much in a Battle Royale game, especially one like Fortnite, where its building mechanics have made the high ground even more of a priority than just good positioning. After a short stint of 11 days, the jetpack was vaulted. It had a few updates and has been since in a couple LTMs and even Playground once or twice. However, as for Battle Royale, I doubt we'll be seeing it there again. Number 1 is the first version of Shadow Stones. Similar to the remote explosives, the Shadow Stones were another addition that really should have been more properly tested before it's released to the public. When a new season starts, it's all about what's new. Are we going to get a new location or two, perhaps a new weapon or a skin or a theme, and every now and then a special feature to the map? Sure enough, we got some Shadow Stones littering the corrupted zones, and these little cube-like objects would turn you invisible and give you the ability to phase through walls. An awesome feature to the dark theme surrounding Season 6, but within hours they were vaulted. Surprise, surprise, a really simple and easy permanent invisibility glitch was discovered, where you could even build and shoot. Almost instant God mode. Fortnite do really try to fix any issues within the game, but sometimes it seems like an item or weapon would have had more success if they just gave it a bit more time, testing it thoroughly before releasing it. I think in this case, the fact that the Shadow Stones were attached to the season release was the main factor that they didn't get tested properly, but after the Shadow Stones ended up being removed and reintroduced multiple times, it barely seemed worth it by the time they fixed them almost a fortnight later. There it is again. Hi, old friend. Games can't be friends. Barely anyone had got to try them and the hype had died down, but we hope you guys have a wonderful day here on the channel. Drop a like down below if you've enjoyed, subscribe, push notifications on, and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming. Top 10 Gaming. We're Top 10 Gaming sometimes. We post a lot of Top 10s too, you know.